Welcome back to another episode of Homebrew Computing. Guys, it's hard to believe it's already been 3 weeks since I recorded those last set of videos, and I promise you we're going to pick up where we left off on Nethsecurity, but it's not for a lack of not wanting to be out here to complete this series. It's just life was busy in July. You know, I had a elected officials academy, then had to come right home, turn around, go right back out to a work conference, and then that next Saturday when I got home, it was my daughter's wedding reception. So here I am. I've got a free weekend, and we're going to continue this series on Nethsecurity, and we're going to cover the security section of it and actually how it might work and be beneficial to you and some of the pitfalls that I have seen so far of it. So let's get on with this week's episode. So let's get on with the show. So to round out this series, we're actually going to cover the security features that are available in Nethsecurity. And then to finish out, we'll talk about some of the pros and cons of this software. All right, so let's get down to it. Let's go to the security tab once we've logged in, and we'll talk about these three features. So Threat Shield. Threat Shield is basically just like Pi-hole, and it's all community driven. It's held together and maintained by these three outside entities called Nethsecurity, Euroway, and Cyber Threat Alliance. And I think I'm saying that right. So sorry if I butchered your name. So these three groups right here are the ones who are responsible for maintaining all the known malicious IP addresses and various other malicious activity out on the web. Now, I'm not from Italy. I don't know these companies. But if you look at Cyber Threat Alliance, if you go to their website, they do have some pretty prominent people that they help maintain their known malicious IP addresses. You see McAfee on there. There's SonicWall, Sophos. I've heard of Juniper, K7 Computing. We used to use that a long time ago in our school. And hey, so I would assume this is a pretty reputable company that keeps up with all these different known malicious actors out there. So look at Threat Shield just like you would as if you were hosting a Pi-hole or another DNS type filter in your house. So the flash start, I did not play with this much because it requires you sign up for another service. And I think this is new. I don't remember seeing this when we first set this up, but I really wasn't digging into it. If you want to explore this option, go right ahead. It looks like it's some kind of DNS. Maybe it routes your DNS up to them, kind of like Cloudflare. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So we're going to leave flash start alone, and we're going to go to the DPI filter. So here, this is where you can actually supposedly do deep packet inspection, but I'm actually kind of confused about that because the way that I understand how deep packet works, or understands how I understand how deep packet actually works, is you have to have a trust relationship between the host that is doing the filtering and the client that is sending the SSL traffic to it for inspection. Well, with this turned on, on this PC, I don't have a certificate installed at all. I never pulled one down. There's no way to download the certificate from Nethsecurity. There's no third-party application, just like we use for Content Keeper at my job. So how does it establish that trust relationship and be able to decrypt those SSL packets that are coming to it? I really don't believe, and this is one of the pitfalls, and I couldn't get an answer from them, and because our time difference, and they were on holiday, and I was, when they got back, I was off doing, like I said, my elected officials academy and those other couple of things that went on this month. And we're going to chalk this one up as to being just a DNS filter. So when you make a request to facebook.com, it sees that and it just filters that out and does not allow you to go to it. But I really don't think it's actually doing deep packet inspection, because if you actually watch the CPU usage, you should see this actually going up from actually decrypting an SSL certificate so it can view the traffic that's encompassed within that packet. And it does not. I mean, it's actually doesn't show any signs of anything. I promise you, I'm almost 90% sure this is kind of a misrepresentation of what deep packet inspection really is. So we'll chalk it up to that. I may reach out to them one more time to kind of get some clarification on how deep packet works, but it does work. So if you're looking for in your office environment or your home environment to filter out these ones that I have listed, say you don't want your children to be able to go to Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, or any of these others that I have listed, you should be able to block them from being able to go to those sites. Now, if you want to set up exceptions, you can. So as you see here, I have an exception enabled for my PC. This allows me to go through and be able to visit those sites that I have under those rules, which is really nice, which you pretty much get this with any basic firewall or firewall/router that we're using here. Oh, guys, you'll have to excuse me. My nose just stopped up all of a sudden, so hang on. Sorry about that interruption, guys. I really didn't want to sneeze in on camera, and I don't want to do another take of this. So anyways, DPI, I really don't believe that DPI is actually happening in Nethsecurity. Like I said, I will try to contact them one more time to see if I could get some more clarification on how DPI is actually functioning in this. But where it stands right now, it actually does work and it does function. Again, I think it's just a little bit misleading on their end. All right. One other thing that I wanted to point out is the reports. They do have a really nice reporting tool that you can go in and look at the system overview. I'm at a loss. It's NetData. Yeah, that's right. NetData. I was trying to remember. It uses NetData to actually monitor the system. So if you wanted to set something up, say like a monitor on the wall or something like that, you could actually monitor this system outside of it and then actually see the CPU usage inbound and outbounds and net disk writes and reads. So this is a really nice feature they also have. So with that being said, let's move on to the pros of Nethsecurity. Guys, if you're looking for a all-in-one box that has everything you could possibly need for your small to home networks, Nethsecurity's got it. There's no question about it. If you don't have a Dream Machine or some other type and you wanted to step up your level in protecting your house or small or medium business, I highly recommend Nethsecurity. Where do you get an all-in-one system that does Let's Encrypt the certificates, it does reverse proxies, it does a VPN, it does some form of security, whether, like I said, the DPI is actually doing DPI, or you get the threat shield so you don't have to run a Pi-hole in your home. You basically get encompassed all-in-one features. The other pro is it's really simple to understand. I mean, there is nothing hard about setting up a reverse proxy. There's nothing hard about getting a Let's Encrypt certificate. You basically all go through the web GUI to do these things. Those are huge pros. I mean, I could not recommend a better software that is so well written and functions so good. Now, the cons. Let's move on to the cons. Now, the setup process, I think, could have and it may be when you do their Neth server, but with Nethsecurity, it was a little conundrum to get it set up because you don't have the option to go in and choose whether you want to use DHCP or static IP addresses. So if you don't have a DHCP server set up, it's never going to get an IP address, and therefore you have to go through the config file and actually change it to static. That is the only big downfall I see in this software. I wish the other con is I wish they would clarify actually be more clear in their instructions or their documentations on Nethsecurity exactly what each feature does and what it's actually doing. So example, the DPI. Is it really doing deep packet inspection? I really don't think it's doing deep packet inspection at all. Not from what my knowledge and what it takes to actually decrypt packets on my work network. So those are basically it, guys. I've been running this for a month now. It has ran without any issues at all. I mean, like I said, where else can you get an all-in-one packet that does A, your Let's Encrypt certificates, you can B, do reverse proxies. Also, you get VPN service. You get some form of security, whether it's intrusion prevention and some form of deep packet inspection. That's, like I said, that's a caveat. And it's a firewall. I mean, you get your firewall all in one. You get to do port forwarding, NAT rules, connections, all this different kind of stuff. You also get the ability to do multi-WAN. So if you have 2 to 4 network ports on your computer, you can do a failover. I mean, so guys, this is it. I think Nethsecurity, I highly recommend it to anybody who wants to give it a try. Anybody who wants to step outside of OpenPFSense or PFSense or OpenWRT, because that's what this is based on. These guys have done an excellent job at actually developing a piece of open source software for the average user to use. So, guys, that's basically all I've got for this series, and I really hope you enjoyed these sets of videos. And remember,
hey, subscribe our channel. Are you still watching us? Subscribe our channel. Come and see. It's me, her, and Op, and Yaya.